and worked the block with his mum and dad in 1962. From 62 to 65, Rob began a linesman apprenticeship with the Murray River Council. Began working as a linesman from 1966 to 1969, and he and Val married in April 1968. He bought a half share in a local timber treatment plant and worked cutting grey box for timber, which was treated and then became local fences. That was from 1969 to 1972, when he sold his share of the business to his business partner. This was the time that Rob got into pubs and clubs, when he bought the Morong Hotel in March 1972 and sold it in March 1974. In August 1973, their first son, Doug, was born in Bendigo Hospital. Rob then bought the Yarram Hotel in March 1974, running it for 3 years before selling it in November 1977. In 1974, their second son, Anthony, was born in Yarram Hospital in October 1974. Felt strange saying Anthony. And then their third son, David, was born in Yarram Hospital in December 1977. Then the whole family packed up and moved to Merimbula in January 78, and in April that year, Rob was appointed as the first secretary manager of the Candelo Bowling Club, a position he held until October 1979. He then managed the Tathra Hotel from October 79 to December 83, ultimately buying it in December 1983. He ran it for a few years before leasing it out from August 86 through to 96. And during this time, this 10-year period, Rob was a part-time wine and spirit traveller for various firms. He went back into the Tathra pub in 1996 and kept it until he sold it in March 2003. Rob then retired to Allura Street from March 2003 until he exited the stage on the 17th of August 2024. And now I'd like to invite Val to say a few words.
Thank you. Yep, thank you. That's better. So thank you, Doug. Thank you, Michael. You mentioned the Candelo Bowling Club, so, you know, Michael's dad was one of the casuals who worked for nothing when Rob went there, so the contact goes back a fair way. I'm first going to one of our very best friends and his wife have come all the way from Portland, and Bill has given me his few notes to actually read for them. He's a bit exhausted after the drive. Well, that's what he tells me anyway. So this is Bill's remembering some of his times with Rob, early days. So Bill says, "It couldn't happen today. Boys, 14 and 15, being trusted by their parents to be on the streets at night, far from home. Rob and I, from late 1958 to the end of 1959, were regularly hitching rides to the pictures in Swan Hill and Nye West. We had become interested in girls. At best, we sometimes sat with Jan and Judy. Kissing was beyond all possibilities, but on rare occasions a hand was held, and on rare occasions pathetic attempts to slide an arm along the seat in darkness. Courageous. These were exciting times, much planning to find someone driving from Goodnight or Tooleybuck on their way to the pictures or to Swan Hill. Planning, yes, but it was luck that got us home. So often our plan was based on hope. However, I now realise that the community then was deeply connected. Half the district would have known of our movements and would have cared. They went out of their way to get us home. Our most significant journeys were train trips to Melbourne in May 1959 for a North Melbourne game at Arden Street, and the Royal Show in September, both times staying with Rob's brother Jim, who played with the Kangaroos. Again, we had the freedom to wander, taking the tram to the city day or night and late. Our shows and pictures were a treat. One night we needed help to find a venue. We wisely caught a taxi in La Trobe Street. The driver muttered with our directions, promptly did a U-turn and said we were there. A couple of country boys appreciated that he didn't charge us, saved some cash for a ticket to the boxing at Festival Hall, not exactly a place where the cream of society hang out. We grew a little older, starting our working lives far removed from each other. Our second important period of life experience together came in the early months of 1963 and 64. Rob was on the farm with his mum and dad, while I had started my wool classing career. Longreach, an outback town and region in northwest Queensland, was a major hub in the Australian wool industry. Grascos offered me a classing contract. Rob's mother, May, was particularly keen that Rob, at 18, would travel with me. Grascos accepted my recommendation that Rob was an experienced shed hand. Truthfully, Rob had never seen the inside of a shearing shed in his life. But away we went in the VW, January 1963. Every night we practiced the tasks of a shed hand performed in a shearing shed. We knew he had one shot in the locker and our heist would be over in minutes. Each night we would take a blanket from the bed, drop it on the floor, and after instructions, Rob would throw it onto the bed, nicely flat and square, ready for skirting in the real world. I schooled Rob on the essential actions, reminded him that shearers had little time for pretty smart-assed boys, know when to help, keep the board clean and never get in their way. Shearers were top dogs in the sheds. Surely all would be okay. Rob would be in the shed with me. He would take my secret signals if need be. Plans of mice and men always go astray. On day one of our Longreach experience, we were sent to different sheds. Shit. Rob passed with flying colours. Grascos thanked me for bringing such a competent shed hand. Rob's only problem came in another shed, when a shearer recognised him. Rob had complained about a steak he had the previous weekend in town. The shearer was the cook. Rob was smart enough to apologise and hope for the best. It worked. Shearers probably don't apologise much. Those years of 1958-59, a period in our lives were formative. Fundamental, when confidence was gained, experience vital, even if the risks were never properly understood. And again, the Longreach experiences set Rob up to be the determined, independent thinker he was. We had fun together. We played footy together, we fished together, we both had VWs, and we were each other's best man. I miss Rob. We can no longer talk. The memories will survive. Strength you value were the rock. Rob loved his clubs and he played with a grin. Thank you, Billy.